So great, we've got some of our regulars in today, so that's brilliant. So we'll sort of move and to make a start to scaffolding towards the practice today. So great to be with you again on this Friday, which will be the last of these midday mindfulness sessions for the foreseeable future. I'm due some holiday again in the summer. We're meant to be going to Italy. Obviously, that is up in the air. So if we don't end up going, then I might find some time to bring it back. What I'm certainly going to do, though, is keep the channel running, maybe put something weekly on there. We talked yesterday a bit of an idea of maybe having some longer meditations, some sort of 30-minute, 45 minutes, and then we can have a playlist with those on as I record them and pop them on. But also we could have a playlist which is about in the moment techniques too, just to give that both sides of mindfulness would be nice to do. So we'll see how that pans out. That'll be a direction of travel. But obviously we'll see how things turn out once I get back into work. And the difference is there. Many of you, of course, are either doing modules with me or courses with me. So we'll be navigating that together. If you're certainly on the 2+2 program with the upheaval we've had to the modules there, yeah, please bear with me. Obviously, when I get back on Monday, one of my first things to do is to find out exactly what is required of us, and then I'll be letting you guys know as soon as possible. With the mindfulness, it won't be anything too drastic anyway. So we'll deal with it when it comes up. If you do coaching and mentoring with me, obviously there's a little bit more complication there because of the observations that we were due to do. But again, if you just give me a bit of patience, and as soon as I've worked it out, I'll get back to you and we'll deal with it together. We've got plenty of time, and we'll make sure it's as easy for us to do as possible. So lots of things coming up, but as I've said, I'm kind of coming to the end of my 2-week holiday, and I've been trying desperately to not let work and to-do lists invade that space. So a little bit more practicing of that today. And actually, as I'm looking at the participants, we've had a kind of a stable group of people that join live, and it's a bit more mixed of people who join in on the recorded sessions. But certainly live, then we can sort of move a little deeper today, and just still trying to, in moments like this, and you can think about however it might look in your life, but in moments where we've got a change coming, or we may have things to do and they're due to start at a certain date, the mind loves to start it beforehand, doesn't it? It loves to run through the scenarios, to be making the lists. But remember, wherever we point the mind, the body and emotions follow. So if I get wrapped up into that, my mind starts to wander away on autopilot, and I'm thinking of the things I've got to do. That will build tension, it will build stress, because I can't do those things now. And my mind, as we know, will go further and further and further towards that catastrophic thinking. So keeping it in the moment, keeping it now, enjoying the last day of my holiday is what's on my mind today. And Monday will come, and we'll deal with the things that brings up there and move forward. It's nice as well, as we've got a stable group on the live session, for me to show you a little bit about how you can be very purposeful with your mindfulness. And that means stretching some things out and shortening others at different times. We've spent this week, sometimes we've just sat with the natural breath a longer period of time. Sometimes we do that very, very quickly and move on into a mindful breath. So this idea of the ingredients are always the same, but how we mix them together depends really on what we want from our mindfulness session, what we're working on, what we're practicing, what our situation is around us. So for today, I'll show you a little bit about how you can move through those beginning techniques a little bit quicker. And obviously, the more used to those you are, and the more you've practiced those, they'll still have the same effect. But then we want to stretch out the final bit we did yesterday, which is let's look at the mind. Let's observe it. Let's try to let go of thoughts as they come up. Keep the mind in the present moment, whether it be outside of ourselves, in the body, in the mind, but just that present-centered awareness. And whereas sometimes mindfulness can mean present-centered awareness in a very short bursts, sort of focusing on something and then moving on to another, In other times, that present-centered awareness becomes the center of our being. And that's when we get to deeper mindfulness, the mindful states we call pure awareness, sometimes called thoughtless awareness or choiceless awareness, because we're not choosing what to do, we're not responding, we're not commentating or thinking. We're simply sitting in the moment, letting it come, experiencing it, letting it go, going with the flow to flow moments of awareness. And that's nice to do because it's a really deep sinking you in to now. It's a good way of sort of moving away from the thoughts that are trying to invade your space. So that's where we'll go today. You'll notice that, like I say, the ingredients are always the same. The procedure is pretty much always the same. And that's what we do. So wherever you are, if you want to make yourselves nice and relaxed. And this one that we're doing today is certainly one where you do want to relax. You want to bring the energy levels down. This is more of a deeper meditation. We might not start there, of course. So the processes that we do are designed to slow the mind, body, and emotions down. Once we've done that, we've got extra space and capacity. Today, we're just going to sit in that space and capacity, trying to keep it free, trying to keep it clear, trying to keep ourselves still. So as always, if you're in a nice position, you're happy in your personal space, close your eyes if you'd like to. Certainly when we get deeper into the mind, I invite you to close your eyes. Let's just begin as we always do, taking that very first step of mindfulness. What's going on around us right here, right now? Let's notice now. Let's notice it in neutral. Let's begin outside of ourselves as we normally do. Remember, we set the tone, we set the mindset with this very first practice. We're pushing the awareness deeper into the sensations. We're noticing distinctions and contrasts between things. We're trying to let go of commentary or analysis of judgments. Then we move inside of ourselves using the body temperature we've worked on. So just noticing warm parts of the body to begin with. And then cooler parts too. And then moving to notice that natural breath as we do. Just connecting with it. Noticing its pace, its depth, and how it's moving the body right now. And just noticing and allowing our natural rhythm of being to be the center of our experience. It doesn't need to be anything else other than what it is. As we always say, just by focusing on the natural breath, you might start to feel parts of the body begin to relax. Thoughts drifting away naturally, emotions coming closer to the neutral state. You might also notice areas that are still tense, thoughts that are still dominant, or feelings too. But we're just sitting with them for now. We'll try to bring a positive change to them in a moment. is going to want to wander away. We can accept that from the outset. Remember, there's no judgment if and when it does. We just bring it back to now when we notice it has gone away. Using anchor points such as sound, body temperature we've done. Let's bring in the main anchor point now, the mindful breath rhythm. So just finding a bigger breath than your natural rhythm. Allowing the mind to focus upon the breath, so there's less room for it to wander and worry elsewhere. Noticing the breath too, how it sounds right now, how it feels. Just try to make it a grounding breath, an assertive breath, an intentional breath, almost a declaration. We are here now. And if you've been with me a long time before, you'll know there's a here and now breath mantra that you can do with the big mindful breath. Just saying the word here on the in-breath, the word now on the out-breath. It just allows us to ground and plant ourselves right here, right now. We've got this new rhythm of being now, this more intentional rhythm, this deeper rhythm. So let's try to settle into that. Trying to bring acceptance to the moment of ourselves first, to other people, to the situation we're in, to the environment we're in. Letting go of schedules and to-do lists and agendas. Let's instead really be interested in the experiences of now as they come and go. Everything else can wait till later. And before we get into the mind and spend maybe 6 to 8 minutes in there, we just want to make sure the body is as relaxed as possible. We've released any tension that we can notice has stored up. We do this quickly in these sessions. It's all based upon the longer body scan technique. But for today, let's just notice the lower half of the body. Maybe tense and release some muscles. Maybe shuffle the toes or feet. Just connect with the lower half. Noticing in neutral as we do. And in doing that, we might just notice anywhere that's got a bit of tension or discomfort. And if you have, you can spend a couple of breaths focusing on the out breath, trying to release that tension away, trying to relax the lower half of the body as much as we can. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of change of position, of posture, just to release the tension too. Let's do the same with the upper half of the body, remembering we've got the shoulders as a barometer of our tension levels. We've got the back of the neck as a store of stress and strain. So paying particular attention to those, but if there's anywhere it could do with a bit of intentional help and relaxation. Let's take that time now. And focusing on the face and the forehead, breathing away any tension that's stored up there, allowing the facial muscles to relax too. And of course, it's from the forehead that we move the awareness back into the mind itself, still with this witnessing role, this observer role, keeping the rhythm of the breath. Now we're watching the mind. So whenever you can, pick an in-breath where you notice whatever thoughts are going through your mind right now. Try to accept them. Remember, they might be weird, wonderful, scary, or embarrassing. Who knows what the mind will give us? Might be none. So let's accept whatever we do find as the starting point, as the first step to using the out-breath to let the thought go, clear the mind, ready for another look at it on another in-breath of your choosing. So we're trying to observe the thoughts without being absorbed into them, but it's going to happen. So as always, don't worry about it. Just bring the mind back to the breath and back to the present moment whenever you can. Remember too, we are not our thoughts. These aren't conscious thoughts we're watching here. Most of them will come from the unconscious and subconscious realm. It's the mind trying to grab our attention. We have conscious choice there. We have a veto. We have to accept the thought in the first place and then try to let it go. You might want to carry this on today. This activity, this practice is really about decluttering the mind, getting rid of the random peripheral thoughts. And that's nice to do. You might have some dominant ones, that's fine. You might want to work through them. Or if you don't want to stay in the mind, you can turn your attention back out to outside of us and just try to keep your awareness there as long as you can. Or you can take your meditation to a deeper level today, this pure awareness state. And here we want to turn thoughts and commentary right down, maybe even off. And this is more of an attitude we have rather than forcing it through. We have to let this state find us rather than trying too hard to find it. But to help us, we can keep the out breath as the clear the mind breath. Be very intentional with it. But let's make the in breath a clear the mind breath too, so that our new rhythm of being is going from clear mind to clear mind, and so on with the breath, with our natural rhythm. Let's try to be still, to be clear, to be present with the flow of moment as it passes to moment. Let's have a bit of silence for a few minutes, trying whatever you want to do today. let's just begin to reconnect with ourselves as we always do towards the end of the meditation. Just noticing how it was for us today. I'll give you some reflections from how it was for me in a moment. However it was for you, just notice in a non-judgmental way. It was whatever it was. That's okay. Let's notice the breath as well. Maybe we've lost the rhythm. Maybe we've kept the mindful rhythm. Again, we can accept the breath wherever we find it. Just bringing back a deeper mindful breath to help us to come out of the meditative state. Reconnecting with how that breath sounds, feels and moves the body once more. And then whenever you're ready, simply taking those 3 slightly quicker breaths we use to raise the awareness back to its normal waking state. To open the eyes, have a stretch, a full drink, whatever you might need. And coming out of the practice and back to the waking state. And as always, I'll let the chat run for a few minutes. If anybody wants to ask anything or make any comment, I'd love to hear about how that was for you today. You can just do the same procedure we do, the same scaffolding. But you can stretch out that longer bit of time. And let's face it was only 5 minutes or so. But even 5 minutes, we can rest deeply into the mind. Just re-energize again, just connect with now. And if and when I do some recorded sessions on this channel, I'll spend sort of 20-25 minutes in that state. So if that sounds like something that might be part of your journey, then you can give that a go. But I'll also do some very short, snappy in the moment ones too. And of course, mixing those up is the best approach in mindfulness, but people do tend to lean one way or the other. So that's fine. Some reflections for me today. That's quite interesting. I found it difficult to clear the mind for a couple of reasons. One, actually for one reason, it's affecting me in 2 ways. Hay fever. So struggling with hay fever today. And for me, it makes me very drowsy and very sort of dreamy. So trying to go from that clear mind state to clear mind state was quite difficult. And so was the deeper breath. So I found my breath going back to its natural rhythm more than it normally would today, simply because I'm a bit stuffy. And again, mindfulness is about navigating now. That was the reality of now. You know, I can't be down about it. I can't be mad. I can't say, oh, it's not how it usually is. It didn't work for me today, because I can just make some slight adjustments, just navigate it. So for me today, it was much easier to just let the breath go where it wanted to. That's okay. And point the mind back outside to the birds tweeting in the garden and other sounds I could hear. That was much easier for me to do today. I think that's important for me to share with you. You know, I've been doing mindfulness for 20 plus years in its modern format. It's never about getting the practice right. There's no such thing as the right practice. It's about noticing how we are now, navigating through that, trying to get the most benefits out of now that we can. So just having a look. Thanks, Graham. Sunny, brilliant. Yeah, nice. Good navigating there. Well done. Katrina, lovely. Thank you. Yeah, change perception of some time is usually an indicator that you've got into a nice deep state. So that's good if it feels it went quick, but you also felt that you were grounded, then that's good. Thanks, Claire. Catch up with you soon, of course. Patronism, great. Thanks. Yeah, same reasons. Yeah. Oh, some reasons. Sorry. Yeah. Sometimes that's just the way it is, but that's about being in the present moment rather than ignoring that or denying it or getting frustrated with it. Hey, that's the reality of now. Passionism, I think you did say as well that you've been to some of the library sessions. Now they're going to continue too, and anybody who's at the university can join in with those. We're going to do live online sessions, obviously, but we are going to keep the 1 to 2 p.m. slot on a Wednesday. So keep a lookout for that for anybody that might want to join that if you can through the university. Harps, you're very welcome as always, and of course we'll keep in touch through the cultivating. So you'll be hearing from me on Monday about how we're going to work that this term. But yeah, we'll get through it together, people. Just notice it started to rain as well, so my next job will be running out and getting the washing in. Sarah, yeah, good idea. Absolutely, yeah, you can join in those ones too. Well, thanks so much, guys, and yes, happy birthday to Graham. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll hopefully see you again in some shape or form going forward. But thanks so much. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully see you again soon.